today we are going to play. Okay, I am not going to play anything. Hey guys, today we are going to read The Puppy Play Smartly, Where Every Puppy Finds a Home by Ellen Miles. And so guys, I'm going to read the page before chapter 4 because it cut out. And so guys, you might not seen part 1 because it was private and I do not know why. But guys, I am going to read the page before chapter 4, which is page 26. And so guys, let's get started. Right, and I was trying to share what I know. What's so wrong with that? What's so wrong with that? Lizzie shook her head. Some people just didn't get it. Nothing, said Maria, as they walked into their classroom. Yes, maybe 3 are better and worse ways to share. Chapter 4. Bully, bully, Lizzie yelled as she tossed the raggedy, grayish stuffed sheep to Charles. Charles caught the sheep and ran toward the stairs and spun around and threw the toy back to Lizzie. Wooly bully, he cried, but he dashed back and forth between them, scrambling and skidding on the floor as he tried to make a quick turn to grab the flying sheep out of the air. His ears were full of alert. His eyes were bright, and he barked and wagged his tail in crazy circles. Buddy loved to play Wooly Bully. So did Lizzie, especially when it took her mind off other things like, well, that had happened at school that day. Who cared what Daphne Drake thought? But Lizzie felt her stomach clench up every time she remembered what Daphne had said. She wished she could talk to Mom about it. But Mom wasn't there. Wooly bully, wooly bully, wooly bully, she chanted as she held the sheep high above Buddy's head. Lizzie could remember exactly how or when the game had been invented, but she knew that Wooly Bully was an old song her dad liked. He was the one who had named their stuffed animal, sheep, and taught them the song. Sort of, he didn't exactly know the words, just the part where you sing Wooly Bully over and over again. Charles and Lizzie and Buddy had made up the rest of the game, which was the combination of catch, touch football, heap away, and monkey in the middle. Mom was crazy about Wooly Bully, too. Mom wasn't crazy about Wooly Bully. Too wild indoors, she always said, but Mom was always, and Dad didn't mind if Lizzie and Charles played Wooly Bully. He was all for it. Might get Muttley moving. We've got to rev that dog up if we want to find him a home, he'd said. And the game worked. For a little while, Muttley had joined right in, chasing the toy sheep as it flew from hand to hand. But now, Lizzie paused holding the sheep. Where was that sleepyhead? Buddy jumped up to grab the sheep out of Lizzie's hand. Then he ran straight into the living room and did 3 laps around the couch, shaking the sheep happily. We got it! For the first time since lunch, Lizzie laughed. That was the great thing about dogs. They made you laugh, even when you felt awful. She went to look for Muttley. What are you doing up here? She asked the puppy when she found him asleep in the upstairs hall, just outside the Beans room. She sat down next to him and stroked his floppy ears. Muttley stretched out his legs and sighed happily. Ah, that feels good. That seems to be his favorite spot lately, said Dad, coming up the stairs. I noticed that he came up to check the bean yesterday at nap time. Then he slept outside the door, as if he was guarding him. I guess he just in the habit now. Enough though, the bean is at daycare today. That's sweet, said Lizzie. What a good boy. He's a sleepy little hound, but he also likes to take care of his people, like a shepherd. Lizzie remembered how impressed Miss Dobbins had been when Lizzie had guessed Muttley's a mix of breeds. It had been easy. Lizzie had recognized Muttley's long ears and face markings from the Walker Hound's picture on her poster, and his brown and white tan coloring as longy waved tail were all shepherd. Miss Dobbins didn't think Lizzie was a know-it-all, or did she? Lizzie pulled the sleepy, warm Muttley onto her lap and kissed the soft black fur on his nose. She remembered the day before at the shelter when she had shown Brianna the best way to clean a dog dish. She had taken the dish out of Brianna's hands and scrubbed it herself, explaining that you had to use the hottest water and plenty of soap, and then make sure to rinse it really good. Really good. Really good. Really well. Maybe Brianna would have figured that out on her own. Thinking about it, Lizzie could understand how that might have seemed like something a bossy person would do. Then she remembered how she had interrupted Daphne when Daphne was trying to share her own ideas about caring for animals, and how she corrected the way Daphne picked Muttley up. Was that being a know-it-all? What do you think, Muttley? Lizzie asked. Muttley opened one eye and licked Lizzie's hand. I think I like the way you are petting me. Lizzie wondered what it would take to get Daphne and Brianna to give her and the shelter another chance. Lately, while Lizzie helped her dad get dinner ready, she asked, Dad, do you think I'm bossy or like a know-it-all? Dad smiled as he stirred a big pot of chili, which filled the kitchen with delicious smells. Dad had learned to cook way back when he was a rookie firefighter, living at the firehouse. Firefighters had big appetites and they liked hearty meals. Dad's specialities were blueberry pancakes, and she realized that those were pretty much the only two things he had ever made. Well, he said, you do have a kind of strong personalities at times. What he means, said Charles, who had just come to grab some pretzels for himself and some dog biscuits for Buddy and Muttley, is yes, you're bossy. He crossed his eyes at Lizzie. Definitely very, very bossy. That's enough of that, pal, said, turned back to Lizzie. No, all I meant was that you do know a lot of certain topics, like dogs, for instance. And you are not shy about saying what you think. Some people might call that being bossy or a know-it-all. I call it, Lizzie. He swooped her into a big hug. "You're my girl," he whispered into her ear, "and you're Mom, and I will always be proud of you." Chapter 5. Mom called just as they finished dinner. After Charles had given her the monthly report, still sleepy, no forever home yet, and Mom had given everyone the Aunt Julie update, feeling much better, still having a hard time getting around. Lizzie took over the phone and told Mom what had happened that day. That dumb Daphne Drake said, "I was bossy know-it-all," she said. "That wasn't very nice," said Mom. But maybe she didn't mean it the way it came out. Maybe Daphne is just a little envious of how much you know about animals. "I never thought of that," said Lizzie, "but Mom, do you think I'm bossy sometimes?" For a second, Mom didn't say anything. "Mom," said Lizzie, "sometimes, yes," Mom finally said. "You do have a way of ordering people around, your brothers, for example, but you are also a kind, loving big sister, and they are lucky to have you." Now Lizzie was silent for a moment. "I miss you, Mom," she said finally. She sniffed and wiped her eyes, and she said goodbye. "How about a special treat?" Dad asked after Lizzie had hung up. "How about movie night?" "Really? Even though it's a weeknight?" Lizzie asked. Usually a movie night was a weekend thing. She had a feeling Dad knew how sad she felt saying goodbye to Mom. "Why not?" Dad asked. "It's still early, so probably won't even be up past their bedtimes." "Not much, anyway. Not enough to tell Mom," he said. He held a finger to his lips. "It'll be our secret." "Yay!" they all yelled. Charles and Lizzie and the Bean loved to pile into the big bed in Mom and Dad's room to watch a movie. "Can we bring our ice cream?" asked Charles. That was another special treat. Dad had brought home vanilla chocolate strawberry ice cream and chocolate sauce. Dad said. "That might be a mistake." Lizzie pictured it. The Bean plus ice cream plus chocolate sauce plus bed. Yikes equals yikes. Mom would not be happy to come back to that kind of mess. She nodded. "We'll have ice cream down here before the movie," she said. Then they took their bowls into the living room, and Lizzie got the Bean settled at the coffee table with lots of paper towels on hand to wipe up any messes. She sat on the floor nearby and pulled Muttley into her lap for a cuddle. Muttley rested his head on her knee and let out a content sigh. "There are so many nice spots for napping here. I like this place." Lizzie patted his soft ears between bites of ice cream. She always tried to make her chocolate and strawberry. She never bothered with vanilla. Come out even. Charles and the Bean played tug with Buddy while they ate their ice cream. Buddy was always ready for a game. He gurred and yipped and pulled at Mr. Duck, his favorite toy, while Charles hung on. When Charles let him win the game, he ran off with Mr. Duck to another corner of the room, hoping someone would chase him. Then he pranced back to Charles waving Mr. Duck in his face until Charles started the tug game over. The Bean's main job in the game was to laugh and shriek and yell, "Buddy, come! Buddy, give toy! Buddy, give toy!" and laugh some more until he sat down with a bump. After a moment of silence, his laughter would start all over again. "Which movie should we watch?" Charles asked. He fanned out the 3 movies Dad had brought home. This one. This one. The Bean grabbed at one about a purple stuffed rabbit. Charles and Lizzie groaned. "That's for babies," said Lizzie. "How about this one?" Charles held up a movie about robots that came to life. Lizzie waved it away, dumb. "This one." She picked up the last movie. This is the one we'll watch. It'll be great." Charles started to say something, but then he shrugged. "No wonder," he said under his breath. Lizzie frowned at him. "What did you say? No wonder. What?" "No wonder Daphne thinks you're bossy." Charles looked down at the DVD in his hand. "I hate to tell you," he went on, "but Sammy and David kind of agree with Daphne. They've seen you in action before, and then they don't want to be bossed around either. So they changed their minds about helping out at Caring Paws." Lizzie shook her head. What was there to say? No Daphne and Brianna, no Sammy or David? Was Jimmy Johnson the only person left who wanted to join the Caring Club? She got up and headed for the stairs. "Let's just watch the movie." The movie was about a boy who lived in Alaska, where he and his team of huskies entered a sled dog race. Lizzie knew it would be exciting. She could still hardly believe that she had once gotten to drive a dog sled herself. It was the most incredible thing she had ever done, even when she was upset. Maybe especially when she was upset. Lizzie loved to snuggle into Mom and Dad's bed with its soft pillows and its heavy warm spread and its sweet, safe, sleepy smell. The Bean cuddled up right next to her, and Charles and Buddy lay across the bottom of the bed in their favorite spot. Dad got the movie going and headed downstairs to check Muttley and clean up the kitchen. The movie was just as exciting as Lizzie had imagined. She forgot all about what Charles had told her, and even about what Daphne had said as she watched the beautiful barking dogs pull a sled through the snowy scenery. But somehow, maybe because she was so cozy, she kept drifting off to sleep, only to wake with a start, realizing she had missed a whole section of the story. She was snoozing again when she was woken by a sound of barking from downstairs. It didn't come from the movie. It was a hoarse bark, followed by a long howling. "Ow!" "Muttley!" The barking came closer, joined by the pounding of footsteps up the stairs. "Here they are, Muttley," Dad said as he pushed open the bedroom. "They're safe and sound. See?" Muttley leaped onto the bed and licked each of their faces in turn. First Charles, then the Bean's, and finally Lizzie's. Then he curled up between Lizzie and the Bean and, with a sigh, settled right into a deep sleep. "My work is done. Time for a nap." Lizzie stroked Muttley's head. "What's going on?" she said. Nut shook his head. "I'm telling you, this is one smart pooch," he said. "Last I saw he was asleep in the living room. but he must have slipped upstairs to check on each of you in your beds. And when he didn't find you, he was galloping back down, barking his head off to let me know you were missing." "He forgot to look in here," said Charles. "Why would he? He's already learned where each of us usually sleeps." "But I bet he never missed checking his bedroom again," said Dad. He sat on the bed and patted Muttley. "This pup is going to grow up into a great dog. We've got to get the word out on him. Someone will want a smart pup like this." Muttley looked up at Dad and gave a huge pink tongue-rolling yawn. "Are you ever going to stop talking so I can get back to sleep?" Lizzie laughed. "Oh, Muttley," she gave him a big hug and a kiss on the nose. "He really was a sweetie. Thanks for taking care of us." Chapter 6. By Friday morning, Lizzie was a little tired of hearing Dad talk about how smart Muttley was. She had started to put her hands over Buddy's ears so he wouldn't hear and get his feelings hurt. By Friday morning, Lizzie was a little tired of hearing Dad talk about how smart Muttley. Sorry. So what if, as Dad sometimes said, Buddy wasn't exactly the smartest cookie in the box? He was no dummy. Lizzie had taught Buddy how to do at least 7 tricks, including shake hands, give a high five, and roll over. Lizzie had also tried a few other things. For one, Chili's Dad chili was good, but did he have to make such a huge pot of it? The leftovers have seemed to make such a huge pot of it. The leftovers have seemed never to end. Then they had eaten chili for dinner on Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and Thursday night, 3 nights in a row. And there was still some in the pot, even with ice cream for dessert. That was a little too much chili. Lizzie thought longingly of Mom's cheesy lasagna and delicious baked pork chops and spicy Mexican casserole. Even pizza would be a good change, even frozen pizza. Ew. Speaking of Mom, Lizzie was tired of her being away. She missed her mother, and not only because of lasagna, even though Mom had called twice the day before and listening while Lizzie told her all about Muttley. It wasn't the same as having her there. Lizzie wished Mom were coming home that weekend instead of Monday. Lizzie was tired of worrying about how to get volunteers to come to Caring Paws. It had not been easy to tell Miss Dobbins that Charles' friends wouldn't be coming after all. To make up for that, Lizzie had spent an extra 2 hours helping, had promised to keep coming every day after school, and extra on Saturdays. And she was very, very tired of Delphine at school. When Lizzie spoke about Muttley at morning meeting, Delphine kept whispering to Brianna, "Delphine, please show respect for Lizzie when she's talking," Miss Alberson had you to say about 3 times. "But Lizzie has talked about Muttley every day this week," Delphine said. "It's getting boring." Lizzie rolled her eyes. She might be bossy, but at least she wasn't rude. Now morning meeting was over. It was free reading time, and Lizzie could not find her book. understood Betsy. She loved that book so much that she was reading it for the second time. It was a cozy old-fashioned story about a girl who went to stay with the relatives in Vermont. Lizzie pawed through her desk and she looked underneath her spelling workbook and checked inside her math folder. Where was that book? All the other kinds were already settled into favorite spots reading. Then Lizzie remembered that she had taken her book home the day before. Maybe it was still in her backpack, which was in her cubby. Lizzie sighed, got up, and went behind the big bookcase in the back of the classroom to look. Aha! There it was. Lizzie pulled the book out of her backpack. If she was lucky, she'd still have a few minutes to read. Then she heard a sniff. She turned and saw a small figure sitting very, very still, tucked inside a cubby in a farthest corner. Jimmy, she asked. Is that you? Jimmy never sat that still, but she recognized his blue plaid shirt and a floppy brown hair and hid his eyes. She took a step closer, unsure. It was Jimmy. He sat quietly with his arms wrapped around his knees. What's the matter? Lizzie went to sit beside the cubby. He sniffed again and wiped his nose with his shirt sleeve. I just want a dog so bad, he said. That was a surprise, a dog, Lizzie asked. He nodded. You're so lucky. You have your own puppy, and you got to foster puppies too. Lizzie knew that Jimmy was right. She was lucky. She remembered wanting a dog so bad she could have cried. Molly sounds like such a cool dog, Jimmy said. Smart too. Lizzie nodded. Now she understood. Hearing her talk about Muttley had made Jimmy sad. He is, she said. Then she had a great idea. Maybe your family could adopt him. Jimmy shook his head. I keep asking if I can get a dog. I would take care of it and walk it and feed it and everything. My parents are divorced and Mom just says no way. She's not a dog person. Dad says he'd love to have a dog, but he works funny hours sometimes and he'd hate to leave the dog home alone. Lizzie knew exactly how Jimmy felt because it was exactly she had felt for a long, long time. She had wanted a dog for years and years before she finally got Buddy. Poor Jimmy. Then she sat up straight and smiled. She just had another great idea. Hey, Jimmy, she said. Remember how you said you wanted to join the caring club and help out the shelter? Chapter 7, guys. So, we are going to end this video right here. And bye!